Hey everyone out there in the land of YouTube, this is Annette Dion. I am the host and founder of the Psychic News Network, and today is Saturday, May 14th, 2022. And we are in full moon, full-on full moon, and Scorpio on its way to being totally full, and a lunar eclipse. And true to form, it's a very intense day, and the country's reeling from another brutal shooting by a teenage white supremacist. And I know that we are, I don't know, it's like borderline, we never lose hope, but this is pushing it. We've been pushed. So, I mean, it just happened a few hours ago, and I remember Columbine. I remember how I couldn't even get out of my bed because it was so devastating, and that was 1999, I believe. And it's become commonplace, and it's become a time when America has got to face up to the facts that what we want to happen hasn't been happening. We want gun violence to stop. It hasn't been happening. We want people to be accountable for blatant crimes against our country. It hasn't been happening. We want to have common decency and people treating each other with respect and care and love. It hasn't been happening. We want to feel like we have some semblance of control and participation over what happens in our government by the people. It's a participatory government, and it's not happening. We don't see it happening. I'm not saying it's not going to happen, but we don't see it happening. We think that we have say in what kind of privacies we have in our lives. We don't see it happening. We want the hatred to stop. We're not seeing it happening. So I'm not saying this to bring you down, but you know, it's reality check time. This is a Mercury retrograde, and Mercury retrograde times we do reflect. Anything that starts with an R-E, review, renew, restore, reboot, redo. We need to review what's going on in this country. So, and then we need to review how we can be effective. The Black Lives Matter movement, thousands, millions of people, you know, protesting only to find out that the man who then occupied the White House wanted to shoot everybody in the legs. It's beyond the pale, and I want us to come together, and I want us to feel like we're not alone, and that collectively we can change this. So I am hosting a 20 on Tuesdays. It's called 20 on Tuesdays. It's a 20-minute Zoom meeting every single Tuesday from 7. We're going to allot 30 minutes, 7 to 7:30 p.m. Eastern Standard Time every Tuesday. What we're doing is we're intending and meditating on the way we want to see this country go. So I just gave you the litany of all the things that are not going the way that we want them to, and we have to get our consciousness in gear, joined together as one to move this energy. I've mentioned it before, back in the, I think it was the mid-90s, the Maharishi experiment, in which thousands, about 1,000 people meditated in a major metropolitan area, and this is science. The crime rate went down. You can look that up online. It does work. Send an email to annettedion7@gmail.com. You can just put 20 in the subject line, and I'll know to put you on the list for Tuesday nights. Apparently I'm in the business of bringing us together. So as you know, and you hear me say it all the time, Send an email to grassrootsofdemocracy@gmail.com. Type AYE in the subject line, and you will receive Zoom invites to our Thursday night meetings and our Saturday meetings. So that's what I have going on. This is all free, as is Church of Spirituality every Sunday at 1 p.m. Eastern Time. Let's get to the cards. If you need support, if you're feeling hopeless, please reach out to somebody. Please don't keep that don't internalize it. That's what's good about bringing people together on Zoom too. We're from all over, and we're joining together as one. So let's take a look. We're going to look at the cards. On a lighter note, Corey and I go to Bridge Cape Ann. If you want to see the show that we did, go to Bridge Cape Ann on YouTube. Just type it in. If you want to see our very long show last night, it was a lot of fun. It was, I mean, I can't watch it, it's just too long, but it was a lot of fun. So, and that's a little lighter. I do recall that at the end, when I did the end of the 3 hours, when I did kind of a collective reading, I mean, I'm gonna have to go back and see what exactly I said, but I saw within the next few days there was going to be something very sad. I have to go back and see exactly what I said. So that was that. Let's just take a look at the cards. Let's see if we will get, all right, let's look at some positive outcomes, possible positive results or possible side effects that will be constructive from these horrible things. And one is, you know, with these, and it was the second shooting in less than 24 hours, because during the show last night I was aware that Corey was watching the basketball game, and the Celtics were playing the Bucks. And then just moments later there were shootings there. So we're going to take a look at whether because this was a white supremacist, the guy in Buffalo, a white supremacist 18-year-old who doesn't want Jews to replace him. Remember Charlottesville? This country really needs to get some healing. I think he live streamed it. It was on social media. So much has happened. I haven't caught the whole entire story, but I know that it was as a result of being on social media that he got all fired up to literally fire at and kill people. So will there be some restrictions? Will there be some guidelines? Let's first ask about social media. People just went to the grocery store. There comes a point where you can't ignore it. You know what I mean? Anyway, so here we go. We'll pray about it tomorrow. We'll pray about it at Church of Spirituality. We will. Please join me for that. Is there going to be something done about some regulations on, because having an unregulated internet and an unregulated fake news, dangerous conspiracy theory, having those networks just telling lies constantly, and having, you know, like we know that Facebook and Twitter organized the insurrection. We can't seem to like keep up with the technology. It seems like collectively we haven't been able to keep up with everything that's happening, because you can't have people bickering, Republicans against Democrats, Republicans being completely irrational and writing, you know, ads, doing ad campaigns with them with guns, shooting guns, and then expect things like controls on guns and controls on social media to happen. It's like sand going through your fingers. It's just like something needs to be able to hold us up. So restrictions on social media. Well, potentially, this could potentially put the brakes on Elon Musk having Trump on Twitter. If Elon Musk even buys Twitter, which I had reservations about that really happening. The lover card is coming up, which doesn't mean romantic love in the context of this question anyway, but it means people recognizing that love will save the day. That love is the answer and love will save the day. And I don't mean that in an airy-fairy kind of a way. I mean, we need to love each other, and we need to look out for each other. And the Six of Wands says it's definitely being discussed whether it will go into effect in terms of controls and guidelines on social media remains to be seen, but it looks like it will be seriously looked at. How many shootings can you have before we just become like a Afghanistan, which is horrifying to even think about what's going on there. We're here in Earth School to learn how to be lights of healing. I don't know, beacons. I don't know. We're here to help. Think of it this way. If you really focus on loving other people and helping, the world would be a worse place if you weren't here. So that's one thing. Think about it. The world might be a worse place if you weren't here. So you being here is extremely important. Because if you're even paying attention to what's going on and feeling like you want to help, then you might be the energy that's keeping it from getting worse. Oh, I just thought I'd throw that out there. You. The King of Cups means some kind of laws. I actually do feel some movement. It's just so incremental. Is on a different note, I know that Mitch McConnell went to Ukraine and it was really strictly a photo op. We know that, right? Because he couldn't have Pelosi go and look like she was doing the right thing. And then, you know, Mitch McConnell doesn't have a heart. He's a turtle. He's an ugly turtle. That's an insult to turtles. I shouldn't say that. He's an ugly person in and out, and he doesn't care about Ukraine from his heart. He cares about Ukraine from optics, from the standpoint of optics. So let's just take a look at that real quick, because I was just getting this little inkling that Republicans might do something about gun laws because of the optics, not because they want to go along with the Democrats. Because we got to get beyond this Democrat-Republican thing, and we really have to move into, like, with the global climate change thing that we're... California, the Southwest not having any water, and what's going on here. These are not Democrat-Republican issues. The Devil card. This is about Mitch McConnell going to Ukraine. He was motivated by the devil. He was motivated by his own need to look like, I don't know, to get accolades or something. It's ridiculous. And he wanted to show that the GOP is stronger in terms of, I mean, these cards, this is a beautiful card. But next to this it says he just wanted to be looking good. He wanted the GOP to be looking good. Yeah, after Trump tried to withhold and got impeached for withholding weapons from Ukraine. It's unbelievable. The moon card keeps coming up, and this is full moon in Scorpio. So there's more to come of ugliness from the GOP in regards to Ukraine. I don't know how long Mitch McConnell went. You know how these things go. All of a sudden it's like, oh, you see a picture of them there. It's like, of course we didn't know they were going there because it's top secret intelligence. And this is kind of a mess. This is gross. And the Strength card is only showing up to show you that he wanted it to look like the GOP was on the right side of the fence, kind of. It wasn't to make America look amazing. It was to make the GOP look amazing, which it doesn't matter how much they try to dress it up. The GOP will never look like it's like compassionate and kind and cares about anything but itself. So, I mean, when you look at, if you ever see the video of Zelensky with Trump, when Trump was literally sitting there back a few years ago, it might have been 2017, when he's sitting there with Zelensky, when he had withheld aid because he wanted Zelensky to invent some dirt on Joe Biden, and he was literally saying to Zelensky that, oh, well, maybe he could work it out with Vlad. It's ugly. It's ugly. It's ugly and it's slimy and it's disgusting. Anyway, Mitch McConnell. And you know what I'm starting to see with the GOP is that they're all over the place. I mean, now that they have had this shooting in Buffalo, I mean, for some reason the image of Dr. Oz, he has a campaign ad of him shooting a rifle and I don't know, acting like he's like, oh, I'm going to protect your Second Amendment rights. Like, that's all over the place, especially now in the face of this. And then, you know, the whole Kyle Rittenhouse thing and Matt Gaetz inviting, you know, Kyle Rittenhouse to come and, you know, do an internship at the White House. And it's just like all this insanity. They're all over the place. They're all over the place. It's like, oh, well, you know, Mitch McConnell going to Ukraine. It's like, oh, well, maybe I'll look good if I do this. And it's always like, well, maybe I'll look good if I do this. But who are they trying to please? Matt Gaetz saying Kyle Rittenhouse should do an internship with him at the White House is kind of like a reward for bringing a gun to a protest and shooting 2 people point blank. If you let it just go through your mind too much, you'll be like, I need to move to a different country. It's warm in New England. We went from cold to hot. I knew that was going to happen in one day. Insanity. What shall we look at next? What more insanity can we look at? Let's look at Elon Musk and whether this recent white supremacist generated on social media heinous murder of 10 people. I think he probably injured some others. I'm surprised that kid's alive, the Buffalo shooter. We just had the subway shooter. It's just one after another after another. But I'm really wanting to look at Elon Musk and Twitter and whether this will affect in any way, manner, shape, or form, whether, see, now I don't think Elon Musk is going to buy Twitter. So I want to see if, I mean, it's kind of back and forth right now. I want to see if this recent incident, this recent shooting in Buffalo, those poor families. And it's funny because you think about this shooting today, and for me, I just think, oh, remember the shooting in Michigan, remember the shooting in Texas, remember the shooting here, remember the shooting there. But I'm telling you, the rest of the world's got to be looking at America like, what happened? Did you all have just too much freedom? So, is this going to affect what happens with Musk and Twitter? Not even like whether he's actually going to go through with really buying Twitter, finalizing that, just to see the energy around it. Oh, I got the lever card again. This actually looks like people. Now, I don't want to get all like, you know, overly like hopey changes. I would Sarah Palin. I can't believe I'm quoting her. Just kidding. The lever card again. As I said, it doesn't mean romantic love when I'm in the context of this, but people coming together, and this is what it's going to take, people. It's going to take people coming together. There were demonstrations, and we'll look at the impact of that. Demonstrations all over the United States today for women's rights. and human rights, basically. So the lover card, this is about Elon Musk and Twitter and whether the violence that's just happened again, white supremacy based, is going to have an impact on what happens. And it looks like people will come together to put restrictions on Elon Musk and on Twitter and be like, no way, the people will not stand for it. The people will not stand for it to be a cesspool to get violence all brewed up and happening. So the Six of Swords is like, this is actually going to affect the way the January 6th committee is seen, because it is connected. Because let's face it, January 6th was about white supremacy. Because so many black people got out to vote. So many minorities got out to vote. Raphael Warnock won in Georgia, that kind of thing. So it's, try to follow me, there's a thread. Elon Musk proposing to buy Twitter for $44 billion, what we could do with that money, don't even get me started. To buying Twitter for $44 billion, and then in the meantime, the white supremacy brews up, rears its ugly head. Again, it's always there, and it reared its ugly head. People are starting to think about the dangers of social media. Elon Musk is in the middle of this, what's going on with him and Twitter. And it looks like the fair communication wins. So let's check the pendulum. By the way, great class today, those of you who were in the class. I am going to do the class again, I'm just not going to do it for the next week or two. So if you want to sign up for it, you can get in touch with me, and I'll let you know when it gets closer. Anyway, is Elon Musk considering not buying Twitter? Let's just put it that way. Is he considering not buying Twitter? I'm not getting that he's considering not buying Twitter. Okay. Is Elon Musk considering doing something different from his original plan with Twitter? Which would mean, like, so he's going to let Trump back on and everything. Well, is he considering doing something different with his plan to purchase Twitter? Yeah, I think some things are changing. Let's ask this. Is Elon Musk going to kind of split it with somebody else? In other words, buy it with somebody else? Is he going to kind of go into, I don't mean the shareholders, I mean one other person. Is he considering going into it with one other person? No, because he wants to be king of the hill. All right, we'll see what happens with that. But it looks like is this actually going to go through? Is Elon Musk buying Twitter actually going to go through? See, I'm getting a no on that. I see a lot of changes around that situation. And just because I'm now curious, because you know how I get, let's look into the cards again to see what he's thinking. Doesn't feel worth it for him to buy Twitter. And the guides are saying he too wants to see himself in a positive light by certain people. Elon Musk does. If Elon Musk really follows through with buying Twitter, it's going to be hugely disappointing. It's going to be a big disappointment. And it's going to be very challenging for him. I see lawsuits. Particularly around the issue of women. We shall see. That's what I get on that. Alrighty then, let's go to another topic. The January 6th committee has subpoenaed 6 people. I don't need to go down the list. I think we all know who they all are. Plus, I hate to give any power to their names by saying their names. There was a time that I always referred to Trump as he who shall not be named. That went on for months and months and months on Facebook when I was Facebook Live. Okay. So what they're doing is they're scoffing at the subpoenas. Try doing that if you ever get called to court. Try scoffing at a subpoena. We got to do something with the rage that we're all feeling too. Something constructive. Like activism. You think? You think maybe some activism? January 6th committee. Let's look at Kevin McCarthy. Let's just go with 3 cards for Kevin McCarthy. Nefarious. Thinks he has a back door. Thinks he can exit out the back door. I'm not sure what that means. Kevin McCarthy's holding on to secrets. He doesn't want to release them. But this also signifies that the January 6th committee, I'm getting this, like, it's kind of a back and forth, like, you don't know, I know something you don't know, and then Kevin McCarthy's like, I know something you don't know, but it's more the January 6th committee. I know something you don't know. I don't think that Kevin McCarthy knows how much they have on Kevin McCarthy. And I've said from the beginning that I see video of Kevin McCarthy showing the insurrectionists the day before how to get around the Capitol. I have seen that in my mind's eye many times, and I think they have that. So Kevin McCarthy is going to be doing the best he can to hide. He's hiding. Yeah, the guy said she's trying to exit out the back door, right? And the King of Wands, this has been symbolizing justice. I did mention that I did see Merrick Garland standing behind Joe Biden the other day when Joe Biden was talking about the baby formula shortage. Yeah, but let's have lots more babies, right? Let's have so many babies, including the babies that are products of rape and incest. Let's just, go ahead with all that, but we can't feed them. I'm telling you what. It can only get better. It can't get worse. So anyway, Merrick Garland was there. And the King of Wands has signified Merrick Garland recently. So let's take a look at, I don't want to go through the list of all of them, but Kevin McCarthy was right in my face, and we'll do Mark Meadows. We'll see what's up with his energy, because these guys should be in jail. These guys should be in prison. Mark Meadows, I actually feel like Mark Meadows is going to tell more. Tell us more. Tell us more, cards. I kind of feel like Mark Meadows cut some kind of a deal. Like, I'll come in if you promise not to, like a plea bargain. Boy, it's going to be like going to one big long movie. The January 6th hearings. It's going to be mind-boggling. And we we should just kidnap a bunch of Fox News viewers and just make them sit down and tie them up and put duct tape on them. You have to watch this. You know what I mean? Not promoting violence. I'm just throwing out an idea. We should entice them with something. I know. Buy a keg and get all your Trumpster neighbors and friends to come over to have a January 6th committee hearing watching party. You can buy all the food, get a buffet, get cold cuts, get some good beer. Anyway, oh dear. Let's see. Let's take a look at people are really worried that they're just running down the clock. Is time going to run out? Is time going to run out for the January 6th committee? Let's just ask the question. Is time going to run out for the January 6th committee and these guys will get off the hook? It's saying no. Okay, let's find out more about that. Is time going to run out for the January 6th committee and these guys get just let off the hook like Bragg style? That would be terrible. Some will. Let's just tell it like it is, people. Some of these guys will be let off the hook. Missed opportunity, heartbreak. However, the Ace of Swords, not so fast. So not everybody, but there's going to be a few unscrupulous, really dark, nefarious, terrible Republicans that, much to our dismay, time runs out and they don't get prosecuted. But that doesn't go for everybody. It's almost like you got to take what you can get at this point and go for the most important people. Speaking of, I don't mean important, but negatively impactful, I do believe that Trump has a rally right now. As I'm speaking at 9:15 on Saturday night. Let's see, how's that going? Oh, I'm sure. I used to watch the rallies. I used to watch Trump's crazy rallies just as a civic duty, as my civic duty, as this like a sociology experiment kind of. But he says the same exact thing over and over. Excuse me, over and over. Hiccuping. It's too much. I can't process it. How's that rally going? You know, the Ace of Swords told me that the most important criminals of the January 6th insurrection will be the ones that, that's what I'm picking up, will be the ones that we see taken out of power. And just for a little bit of a side note, I did take a look at whether Trump would be indicted, and I actually got no. Let's hope that that changes. And then I asked if he would be prevented from running for office again, and I got a yes. So let's just see how that shakes out. This is Trump's rally. Well, the Two of Swords. Trump is actually, he's kind of very stuck right now. I'm seeing unable to mobilize. The Tower card, there's a big disruption for him right now. Looks like something's going to come down, and he's going to want to rally people to help him. Remember some months ago he was saying that he wants people to gather at the courthouses and have rallies like no other. He did say that in Georgia and New York. He wanted people to rally like violently to prevent him from going to, I don't know, prison. The Prince of Swords. I feel like, you know, the Prince of Swords, so he's in Texas and he's apparently endorsing somebody. I didn't really look into the details, but I will. He's endorsing somebody, but it doesn't look like it's going to work. Hang on. The Princess of Cups. He's not well. Trump isn't well. This is a Tower card. This is a Two of Swords. He kind of doesn't know what's going on. I do know that he has early onset of dementia, so I think he's kind of losing his way cognitively. Remember, when he points to somebody else and says, you are that and you're negative, beware of anybody that does that. That's a sign of somebody who's not a good person. But he was always pointing to Joe Biden, and he still does, about his cognitive function, and there he is with barely any cognitive function, Trump. And on either side are like, this is what I really kind of feel, this is the younger generation kind of catching up with him. Wow, well, it kind of points to, it's not the young people that are at Trump rallies. You see some, but you see primarily older people that are not educated, and not really well read, not really thinkers, not really people that have critical thinking. I mean, no offense. I'm just talking about it is what it is. That are just taking what he says and not looking for facts and not checking in with themselves to see if it's true. So I actually see that the older people are still going to be pulled in. The older Trumpsters are still going to be pulled in. It's almost like, you know, the older Trumpsters are like, it's like listening to old songs. They're waxing nostalgic at this point for Trump. And it's like they're going to the rallies and they're singing the same songs because he's saying the same things. When you think about it, right? They do these chants Lock her up. They're probably still saying lock her up about Hillary. Lock him up. He tried to take our country down, and he's still in it. All right, so for our next number, the time is drawing closer for Putin to be taken down. So let's see what the cards say. Just thought I'd throw that out there. Putin. When it happens, it's going to be sudden. This is a Chariot. This is Putin. When it happens, it's going to be sudden. I feel like right now Putin's in a very precarious balancing act. And he's looking at that he has no place to turn for more funds for some reason. And it's quickly going to, I don't know. I just see the Russian army crumbling. I really do. I feel like they just run out. It's kind of like the feeling of like running out of gas. So strange. So Putin, very quickly, something's going to happen. I don't know. It's like when you lose all your money at once or something. It's interesting. Pendulum. Is it going to come to an end for him? Is it going to come to an end for Putin? Is it going to come to an end for Putin? Oh yeah, it's going to come to an end for Putin. Where has my amethyst? Okay, amethyst. Is it going to come to an end for Putin? Is that where the trajectory is going for Putin? Oh yeah. Oh yeah. Is it going to be within 2 weeks? No. 3 weeks. Today's the 14th. I mean, yeah, 14th. I keep getting around the first week of June. I really feel that he's running. The guides are just saying like it's like Putin's running out of gas to, you know, the guides speak in symbols frequently. I just see this tank, this Russian tank going. I see sputtering. I see sputtering out. I'm trying to describe what I'm seeing. Yeah, like sputtering out, like, and just like disintegrating. I see the Russian military just sputtering out and disintegrating. It's so weird. Having nothing to replenish with. Then you think about the Russian soldiers, you know, this has been going on for a long time. They thought they were doing a special military operation, and they're turning on him. And, you know, when it was really, really cold out, because this is February, March, right? I didn't feel like they had enough food, and these are young kids, you know, and the whole thing is so heinous, it's hard to even put it into words. But I don't feel, I'm just getting that they're not being replenished, like the fuel's not being replenished, the tanks aren't being replenished, the arms aren't being replenished, and I see them just disassembling. 3 more cards about that. That is so intriguing. 4 cards wanted to come out. Because he's been a fool. He didn't plan for such a long war. Duh. That makes sense. Putin didn't plan for... It's almost like if you plan a trip and your trip ends up being longer than you anticipated by like 3 months, and you only allotted a certain amount of money for your trip, and then what do? That's what it feels like. He didn't budget for this. And he's feeling really like, this is Putin. He didn't budget for running out of military resources because he didn't plan on it being so long. This is crazy. Wow. These cards are very telling. Stuck negotiations. Well, he's not doing any negotiations, but I do feel like with his generals, with the military leaders, they're trying to figure something out, but they keep getting stuck. And this is a nefarious intent that he still has. All right. The nefarious intent has me wondering. But he's realizing that he didn't budget for this long war. He didn't. He doesn't have the resources for this long war. So the Prince of Cups, he's kind of like trying to think up something that's quite nefarious. So let's see. Is it an attack that he's thinking of? Not necessarily. No. By the way, on our show last night, somebody did ask about Finland and what was going to happen with that. Putin is seething with rage. He's seething mad, but he doesn't feel good either. So you can only get so much seething with rage if you don't feel good. You know, there's kind of a limit to that. So he's really mad about Finland, and I said last night that I felt like he was going to cut something off, and then somebody in the chat said that Finland received like 8% of gasoline, their total inventory, from Russia. But I felt like he was going to inconvenience them and cut them off somehow. And then I heard today that he cut off their electricity. But I did feel like it wouldn't be a big deal, and apparently it wasn't. So so he's trying to think up something that's nefarious, of course, to get himself out of this pickle. Is he going to do it? No. I think they're going to take him out. Let's ask about Brittany Grimes. I think that's her last name. So sad for that girl. We need to pray for that basketball player to be freed. She's really traumatized. How could you not be? Anybody would be. I do feel like there's going to be a trade. I feel like Brittany will get out of the Russian prison. But I don't think she'll ever be the same. It's dark times we're in, people. It's dark times. We have to focus on the light. We have to take breaks. Let's see what's going to happen with Brittany. Brittany will get out. She'll get out. She'll be okay. She'll get the resources that she needs. This is... The Lover card keeps coming up tonight. This is so interesting. It's about love, people. We have to focus on the love. We have to love one another. We have to figure it out. So this is about Brittany. They surrender her. This is the Russians. They surrender her. And I feel like it's a win-win. So that's what's gonna... And I actually feel like, for some reason with the Brittany thing, I feel like Putin has nothing to do with the release, her release. But I do see it coming. Is it going to be... I mean, they said they were going to hold her for another month. Will Brittany be released in less than a month? I see she's going to be released in less than a month. Let's get a little more specific. Is it 3 weeks? No. Is it 2 weeks? It looks like it's more like 1 week. Alrighty then, well that would be good. That would be, you know, we need more good news. So let's visualize more good news. We sure could use a little good news. That was an old song a long time ago. I don't think it was a very big hit. We sure could use a little good news. I did not attend a protest today because, you know, I didn't really plan for a protest, you know, when I planned my pendulum classes. So I went ahead with the pendulum classes, but when there's another protest for women's rights, I'm going to get out there and sing my song and teach my song to all the protesters. I've adapted the lyrics to make them say something about women's rights, so we'll get to that. I'm in my psychic brain. I can't remember it right now. We want to look at Roe versus Wade, speaking of women's rights, and then I'll let you go. But before I let you go, please attend Church of Spirituality tomorrow, 1 Eastern time. Takes a long time to upload it after I do the live, so if you can catch it 1 Eastern time, that's great. Otherwise, it might not be till later that you can watch it. But it's always an uplifting message. The sermon will be about... Well, I don't know yet. But the theme is about divine receptivity for the month of May. Women's rights, the Supreme Court. Well, I keep getting the same thing. I feel like it's going to be harrowing and difficult and traumatic when we see abortion rights being taken away. It's going to be very, very hard in this country, but it's a win for the Democrats, and it's a win for the women after that. It's only going to hurt for a little while, and I know I don't mean to minimalize it, but I'm just saying, you know, it will hurt for a while. It doesn't look like a long while. These laws will be changed. There was an interview with Anita Hill, and I'm sorry, I cannot remember which publication it was. It might have been the New Yorker. Anyway, there's an interview with Anita Hill, if you can track it down. The bit that I read of it, it gave some perspective on things can change around the Supreme Court and the laws and all that. But so far, America is completely lawless, and the guides are saying this is a win for the Democrats. This Roe versus Wade, these heinous Republicans, what they're doing, it's misogyny at its finest. And I did post something about the Afghan women and how the Taliban wants them in full-on. Can you imagine being in the Middle East and you have to have a full-on burqa where all they can see is your eyes, and they don't get to have an education, and they don't get to have a job? The women in Afghanistan are slaves. When we work as a collective and we stand up for women's rights, that has a ripple effect for the rest of the world. So we're not just doing it for us, we're doing it for all women. And yeah, just, it's amazing. Let's, did I say I was going to pick cards for something else? I forgot. I got in that little women's tangent. Okay, let's just take a look for the next few days, what to expect. We got to pray for the people in Buffalo and all the victims of gun violence. It's just, it's going to get better. It has to. It has to. For the next few days. Yeah, we're going through a rough time. We're going through a rough time. It's really a test. It's really a test of, are we going to stand up for what we need to stand up for? As human beings, are we going to stand up for caring about each other and for love, not fear? Are we going to stand up for that? That's what it's about. We need to all learn how to talk to one another, right? I mean, people that disagree, we need to be able to talk to each other and say, oh, well, I don't agree with you, but that's okay. We can have a cup of coffee anyway. You know what I'm saying? So the next couple of days are going to be really a lot of news about the shootings, a lot of news about violence in this country, and a missed opportunity. Now, keep in mind, while all this is going on, Ron DeSantis is over there saying, anybody can have a gun, just go buy one. And Abbott did the same thing. So they're all part of this. But I feel like since I pulled all those lover cards, I really feel like it's going to become glaringly obvious to us all that love is the answer. And we don't mean that in an airy-fairy way. I mean, just we need to care about one another. This is getting ridiculous. Okay, that's what I have for you today. If you'd like to book a reading, it's annettedionpsychic@gmail.com. Please subscribe. There, I remembered to say it. Please hit the thumbs up button. I'm so proud of myself. I remembered. Love you guys. Please take it easy. Please enjoy the beautiful weather if it's beautiful where you are. It was absolutely beautiful here today. It was shocking how nice it was. And enjoy the full moon. And I will be back with a PNN on Monday. And what else do I have? Namaste. Please contribute to Save Soil. Go to savesoil.org. Sadhguru is doing amazing work, and it's really positive. All right, good night.